And good evening, wrestling fans. Jimmy Gimmick here for N.E.W. North Wilkesboro Extreme Wrestling. What a fantastic main event we have for you next. The Irish Hitman, Shamus Maloney, the N.E.W. World Television Champion, puts his title on the line against the talented and charismatic Xzavior Maxim. And our special referee for this one-fall 30-minute time limit main event title match, N.E.W. Senior Referee Mark Barker. There's a lot of bad blood between these two, and it all started 2 weeks ago here on N.E.W. North Wilkesboro Extreme Wrestling. Let's take a look. Shamus Maloney, the Irish Hitman, and one of his cohorts, the Wildman James Brody, made a surprise appearance as Xzavior Maxim took on the instant classic Raymond Helms. Their plan was to attack Helms when he was vulnerable, and that's exactly what they did, even though it interfered with Xavier's title shot. Their attack was relentless, but in a surprising turn of events, Xzavior Maxim defended his fallen opponent. Some analysts have suggested that if it hadn't been for Xavier's interference, the career of Raymond Helms would have likely been ended, but Xavier's heroic actions weren't without consequences. He somehow received a deep laceration during the struggle. Before it was over, the entire locker room was emptied. The entire venue fell into complete chaos. Shamus Maloney, the Irish Hitman, received a 2-week suspension from the N.E.W. for the role he played in the underhanded attack, and he was not pleased. The medical reports confirmed that Xzavior Maxim was indeed the victim of a shiv. He received 14 stitches and was held overnight for observation. A closer view of the tape shows the exact moment that James Brody gave him the shank. But Xzavior Maxim is one tough customer vowing revenge, and you get to see it here on N.E.W. North Wilkesboro Extreme Wrestling. So Xzavior Maxim challenging the Irish Hitman Shamus Maloney for the N.E.W. World Television title. Never at a loss for words, Shamus Maloney had something to say to the challenger. Let's take a look.
This is Shamus Maloney, the Irish Hitman, with a special Irish lament for you, Xzavior Maxim. The perfect way to foreshadow what's going to happen when I get my hands around your skinny little neck. Let me tell you something. You may have wrestled up and down the East Coast, Virginia, Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, North and South Carolina, but this is the N.E.W. Apparently you haven't been here long enough to know that I'm Shamus Maloney, the Irish Hitman, the N.E.W. World Television Champion, and I do what I want, to who I want, when I want. And that includes you, you little punk. You interfered with my business during that match, caused me to get suspended for 2 weeks from the N.E.W. So the best way I know to get my revenge is to get it in the ring. So if you think you got game, step into the ring, pretty boy. I'll give you a title shot. I'll take your little challenge. But you better bring your A game, Buster. I'm Shamus Maloney, the Irish Hitman.
So there you have it, the stage is set, and the action begins right after these messages. Welcome back, wrestling fans. Here he is, the Irish Hitman, Shamus Maloney. He's the N.E.W. World Television Champion. Shamus always generating quite an emotional response from the crowd, and today appears to be no exception. And as he antagonizes this crowd, let's take a look at the N.E.W. tail of the tape. Both of the wrestlers 6 foot even, but Shamus with a 68-pound weight advantage. Xzavior Maxim certainly with the advantage of youth. Shamus the stronger of the two, but only by a small margin. Xzavior Maxim definitely in better condition here. And even though Xzavior Maxim is no stranger to the ring, I'd have to give the advantage of experience to Shamus Maloney, the Irish Hitman. So all things considered, it may come down to Shamus's dirty boxing tactics against the high-flying skill and tenacity of Xzavior Maxim. And it looks like the champion's made his way to the ring here. Let's hear what he has to say.
This is what a true champion looks like, so get used to it. Yeah.
My goodness. Without a doubt, the most belligerent television champion in the history of the N.E.W. The keys to victory for Shamus Maloney, the Irish Hitman: utilize underhanded tactics. Let's face it, that's what Shamus does best. And in order to get away with as much as he can, he needs to intimidate the referee. Mark Barker's not one to take a whole lot of nonsense, so Shamus might have his work cut out for him. He needs to keep Xzavior on the defensive and eventually punish him into submission. Ladies and gentlemen, the Irish Hitman, Shamus Maloney. And here comes the challenger, Xzavior Maxim. Clearly he's got the crowd support here in beautiful Ronda, North Carolina. Shamus is really going to have his hands full with this talented young wrestler. But if Xavier's going to win, he's going to have to avoid Shamus's underhanded tactics. He's going to have to take advantage of his better conditioning and set a really fast pace for the match. He's going to have to outwit and outlast the Irishman and survive long enough to catch Shamus in one of those signature finishes. Ladies and gentlemen, Xzavior Maxim. Xzavior Maxim really chomping at the bit to get the action started. Referee Mark Barker holding up that World N.E.W. television title belt. And the action begins right after these messages.
You better watch it, Brandon. You better be yelling for me. You do this work. Be quiet. You better check him. He's the one you need to check.
And welcome back, wrestling fans. Mark Barker trying to check Shamus for foreign objects. And that was the bell here. This match has begun. Xzavior Maxim already getting the crowd excited here off the bat, much to the chagrin of the Irish Hitman. Now Shamus Maloney, he's going to see how much crowd support he can get. Not much there, unfortunately. Shamus now having a few words with this crowd here. Now Xzavior tells him to get out of the way. Let's see how much crowd support Xzavior has here. Clearly the crowd's in favor of Xzavior Maxim. But wait a minute, here comes Shamus with an underhanded attack from behind. My goodness. And now he's going to smash the head of Xzavior Maxim into that corner. Shamus couldn't be more proud of himself here. And now he's going back to work. A side headlock followed by what looked like a thumb to the eye of Xzavior Maxim. It looks like Shamus might have the young challenger exactly where he wants him. And a big right hand smashing the forehead of Xzavior Maxim, followed up by a big suplex, crashing Xzavior Maxim to the center of the canvas. Shamus must really be taking this one personal. Now he's grinding Xavier's face into the top of that leather boot. Now Shamus gets a word of warning from referee Mark Barker. But Xzavior Maxim up to his feet again here. Wait a minute, Xzavior fights back with a quick kick to the belly, followed up by a couple of right hands. Now he's pushing the Irishman up against the ropes, big Irish whip, followed up by a big arm drag that sends Shamus Maloney, the Irish Hitman, crashing to the canvas. Nice arm lock by Xzavior Maxim, but Shamus is going to make it to the ropes here.
On the ropes. I love the ropes.
Mark Barker breaks up the hold accordingly, but Xzavior Maxim's going to drag Shamus up to his feet. And now Maxim twisting some torque onto that arm of Shamus. What's the Irishman going to do here? Looks like he's going to reverse. Now he's putting some pressure on the arm and shoulder of Xzavior Maxim. The tides have turned again for Shamus Maloney, the Irish Hitman. Now he's going to drag Maxim over into the corner, smashing his head into that corner turnbuckle. And now he's going to drag Xzavior Maxim's face across that top ring rope. My goodness. And now he's going to smash Xavier's face into that other corner turnbuckle. Mark Barker warning Shamus again about his use of underhanded tactics. But I don't think the brawler from Belfast is listening. Now he's got Xzavior trapped in that corner. And big shoulders to Xzavior Maxim's midsection. Barker's starting to count, but this Irishman's out of control. And a big hip toss into the corner sends Xzavior Maxim crashing to the canvas. And now Shamus setting him up for a big leg drop. Shamus keeping on the pressure. And now he's going to cover the challenger. This could be it. 1, 2. But Xavier's kicked out. And now Shamus is digging his fingers into the eyes of the challenger. Mark Barker definitely giving the champ an earful now. Shamus just ignores him and the punishment continues. Now Shamus choking Xzavior with those ring ropes, my goodness. Mark Barker trying to break it up here. Shamus breaking every rule in the book. One more time and you're out of here, I think he said to Shamus. As the brawler from Belfast moves in for the kill. And now he pushes Xzavior against the ropes. Big Irish whip. Here comes a big sidewalk slam. Wait a minute. Xzavior turns it into a flying head scissors, sending Shamus flying across the ring. And here comes Xzavior dragging the champion to his feet. Another standing arm lock, but a big kick sends the Irishman reeling and finally crashing into the canvas. And here comes Xzavior. He's going to follow up, dragging the Irishman up to his feet. Still working on Shamus's arm and shoulder. Now he's pushing Shamus up against the ropes. Big Irish whip. Shamus off the ropes and a big arm drag sends Shamus crashing to the canvas. This gives the crowd an opportunity for a little more heckling, but here comes Xzavior Maxim. He's not going to give Shamus time to recover. He's dragging the champion up to his feet, but it's Shamus with an underhanded low blow. My goodness. That was completely uncalled for, and now he follows it up with a big suplex. This could be trouble for Xzavior Maxim. Shamus Maloney really putting on the pressure. Now he's back to work again, dragging Xzavior Maxim to his feet. And a big headbutt sends Xzavior Maxim reeling into the ring ropes. Now a big Irish whip, how appropriate. Xzavior off the ropes, and a big clothesline sends Xzavior Maxim crashing. A few more words to this crowd, and Shamus Maloney, the Irish Hitman, moves in for the kill. If I know Shamus, it's time for the finisher. Probably that big vertical backdrop. Here he goes, Xzavior against the ropes. Big Irish whip. Here's the backdrop. But Xzavior catches him with a kick, and he's off the ropes. Big bulldog, Shamus Maloney's face straight into the canvas. And Xzavior covers him up. Mark Barker in for the count. 1, 2, 3. It's over. Xzavior Maxim is the new N.E.W. World Television Champion. My goodness, these N.E.W. wrestling fans in Rhonda, North Carolina definitely got their money's worth today. Mark Barker now handing the belt to Xzavior Maxim, and the arena has gone completely wild. No doubt about it, Xzavior Maxim earned this title. Let's take a look at the instant replay. Here was Shamus with that vicious underhanded attack from behind. Mark Barker was on him this whole match for his rule breaking. No doubt about it, the Irishman broke every rule in the rule book. Here was that vicious right hand to the forehead of Xzavior Maxim, followed by one of several devastating suplexes that Shamus was able to land during the match. I don't think I've ever seen Xzavior Maxim take that much punishment. But throughout the match he managed to fight back. Here was that quick kick to the stomach of Shamus, followed by several devastating right hands. Here was that big Irish whip, followed by one of several devastating arm drags. Shamus never got too far from the ropes in the whole match. Here's Shamus taking Xzavior into that corner, smashing his face into that corner turnbuckle, and rubbing his face along that entire top ring rope, and smashing his face into that other corner turnbuckle. Referee Mark Barker did as good as anybody could do to keep Shamus under control during this match, but what can one do against such reckless hate? Here was that sidewalk slam that Shamus attempted, reversed by Xzavior Maxim, skillfully turned into a flying head scissors that sent Shamus crashing to the canvas. But the tides turned again for Shamus Maloney, the Irish Hitman. Here was that big headbutt that sent Xzavior reeling into the ropes, followed by a big Irish whip and a devastating clothesline. And here was the finisher, a big Irish whip followed by an attempted vertical backdrop. Xzavior caught the Irishman with a big kick to the midsection, followed by an RKO that smashed Shamus's face right into the canvas. And just like that, Xzavior Maxim was the new N.E.W. World Television Champion. So this one's over. Shamus Maloney, the Irish Hitman, the first casualty in Xzavior Maxim's quest for vengeance. Next on his list, no doubt, the wild man James Brody. I'm sure he'll challenge Brody for the N.E.W. World Heavyweight title. After his performance here today, he'll be ranked the #1 contender, no doubt. So for N.E.W. North Wilkesboro Extreme Wrestling, this is Jimmy Gimmick, signing off.